Sure. Thanks a lot. Matthew Lee, Inner City Press. Thanks a lot for the briefing. I wanted to ask you, actually, believe it or not, about the UN itself. I don't know if you're aware of the case in South Sudan. In July, there was an attack on the Terrain Hotel very close to the UN base. A journalist, John Gatluak, was executed, and people said that the UN peacekeepers didn't go for hours. So what does the UN itself have these responsibilities you're referring to? And I also wanted to ask you about Burundi, where there's a journalist, Jean Bigirimana, who's been missing for some time. The UN has a special advisor, but it doesn't seem to, the level of press repression, an enemies list has been issued by a member of the ruling party, which lists any number of media that are going to be targeted. And in fact, one of the media on the list has been targeted by the UN here and evicted for trying to cover a meeting in this very room. So I guess my question is, do you see a need for the UN itself to live up to these principles? Your colleague David Kaye said there's no due process in how the UN accredits and disaccredits journalists. Do you focus any of your focus on the UN system itself? Thank you.
Actually, no. We focus our effort on the states and the reality on the ground on the states. But I am very much aware of the work of David Kaye in his latest report. He is my successor, as a matter of fact, as rapporteur. What we have done is given full support to David Kaye and his investigation, including the investigation on the role of UN bodies and the transparency that should exist in UN bodies. I think it is the role of the rapporteur to call the attention of the UN, and we will wholeheartedly support this role of David Kaye and his demands for more transparency and information coming out from the United Nations. We don't have that in our mandate, which is why we haven't done it, but we certainly believe that he has it, and he is doing very well in pursuing this track.
In the South Sudan case, are you aware of that?
We are aware in the South Sudan case. We had one of our colleagues in our office was seriously wounded in the shooting in the conflict. So someone from UNESCO who had to be taken out of the country with serious wounds. What is the result of the investigation? I honestly don't know. I don't know what peacekeeping operations is doing over there, but we know that what happened.
Just one quick follow-up, because I was referring to the journalist who was killed, but did UNESCO itself, some people are saying that although your own official was attacked in South Sudan and his car was shot up, that it took a long time for this to become public. It almost appeared that the UN system, including UNESCO, was kind of wanting to downplay how bad things had gotten in South Sudan. Maybe you'll reject that, but did you go public enough about the attack on your own official?
Yes, on our own official, as far as the information I have, it was public immediately, and we reacted. The first concern was to get him out and get him to safety immediately. Of course, that's always the major concern with anyone. But yes, it was made publicly immediately and uploaded on the website.